Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Alan. This is Cast of Life. Today is the Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing Bassmaster's Classic Edition. I'm glad to have you here with me today, but before I get into my picks for fantasy fishing this week, I would like to just talk a little bit about Lake Hartwell and kind of what makes it special. Lake Hartwell is one of the blueback herring lakes that you may hear talk about. Blueback herring is a type of bait fish. They're open water fish. They spawn in fresh water but live in salt water. This particular group of bait fish there on the Savannah River chain has been introduced. Lake Hartwell has an abundance of blueback herring. It is the predominant bait fish there. There are still shad, there are still crawdads, there are still bluegill for the bass to feed on. But primarily, if there is a blueback herring school in the area, the bass are going to choose to feed on them. They're extremely fast and agile. They do swim in schools, and they like to hang out primarily in open and deep water. So that's kind of the cliff notes on a blueback herring. I may end up doing a video just about blueback herring because they are pretty interesting to learn about. So look for that in the future maybe. But let's go ahead and dive right into my fantasy fishing picks for this week. I'm going to start off in Group E. This was a pretty easy pick for me. Justin Hamner from Northport, Alabama. He's kind of a spotted bass guy, so I'm pretty sure he's going to know how to find the spotted bass on this lake. It may come down to who can control the spotted bass bite along with finding a few largemouth up shallow. But as far as the spotted bass goes, I think out of this group, Justin Hamner is a good solid pick there. Okay, moving on to Group D. One name just jumped out at me right away, and that is Brian New. I mean, you can't go wrong with Brian New in a lot of situations, but this is his home territory. So I'm looking for him to have a big tournament. I think he's a steal of a pick there in Group D, and that's probably why his taken percentage is up to 34%. So kind of a community pick there, but super solid. Moving on to Group C. So there was really only one name on this list that I even thought about choosing for more than a half a second. He knows how to fish up shallow, he knows how to catch giant largemouth, and he also knows how to use his offshore electronics. He knows how to use that forward-facing sonar and find those fish offshore. And man, when the trophies are on the line, who's better than Scott Martin in that situation? I think Scott Martin has a great chance and the determination. So out of Group C, Scott Martin is my pick. Moving on to Group B. Now, with the water temperatures being like they are down there on Lake Hartwell, they're in the mid-50s. It is possible that we could see the blueback herring move up to spawn during the course of this tournament. And if they do, they like to spawn in the same types of places that the bass like to pre-spawn. So we could see the best of both worlds coming together. We could see the blueback herring coming right up to the dinner table there for the bass. I took John Cox out of this level just simply because we saw John Cox put up some big numbers in shallow water. I heard somebody say on one of the other YouTube channels that he fishes 3 foot deep everywhere he goes, something along those lines. So this could end up being some magic coming together there with a possible blueback herring spawn along with the bass moving up shallow. All right, out of Group A, again, this was a group that, I mean, there are a ton of selections in this group. You've got 2-time, and that's 2 times in a row, Bassmaster Classic champion Hank Cherry is in this group. You have second place Bassmaster Classic finisher Matt Airy in this group. You've got Brandon Cobb, who a lot of people think is just going to blow this tournament out of the water. Patrick Walters, right there, a local kid from South Carolina, and he is a live scoping master. I mean, this was a tough decision, and at the same time, it wasn't really a tough decision for me. I think Jason Christie has a great chance to win this tournament, and I think he's got the motivation and the drive to do it and the experience to do it. So out of this group, even with all of those great choices to select from, he is my pick out of Group A. And that wraps up our Bassmaster Classic Edition fantasy fishing picks for the week. Hey, thank you for sticking around. There's more content to come. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.